I'm the only person left in a city of 2.3 million people, and I think I know why they're gone, but you won't believe me. My name is Alex, and 4 days ago, I woke up to absolute silence, not the comfortable silence of a quiet night, but something oppressive, something wrong, the kind of silence that presses against your eardrums and makes you realize just how much noise a city actually makes. Even at 3 in the morning, I reached for my phone on the nightstand. 3:34 a.m. The screen was flooded with notifications, texts from my girlfriend Sarah, sent at 3:32 a.m. Babe, are you awake? Something weird is happening outside. Another at 3 hours, 32 minutes and 47 seconds. Everyone's acting strange. Can you hear that sound? The final message, timestamped 3 hours, 32 minutes and 58 seconds, just said, "It's so loud now, I can't." That's where it cut off. Mid-sentence. I called her immediately, straight to voicemail. I tried again and again. Nothing. That's when I noticed the silence wasn't just in my apartment, it was everywhere. No traffic sounds from the street below, no distant sirens, no hum of air conditioning units or refrigerators in neighboring apartments. Even the ambient white noise of a living city had vanished. I got out of bed, my bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. The apartment felt wrong, too still. I walked to the window and looked down at the street 7 floors below. The streetlights were on, casting their orange glow across empty pavement. But empty isn't the right word. There were cars down there, dozens of them. Some parked normally, others stopped in the middle of the road, doors hanging open. One had crashed into a fire hydrant, water spraying weakly into the night air. But no people, not a single person. I need you to understand something. If you're watching this, you need to know what 333 means, because it might happen again, and you need to be prepared. I threw on clothes and ran into the hallway of my apartment building. The fluorescent lights flickered weakly overhead. Mrs. Chun's door was ajar. I'd never seen it open before. She was paranoid about security, always had 3 locks engaged. "Mrs. Chen," I called out, pushing the door open wider. "Hello." The TV was on inside, playing the late-night news to an empty living room. A teacup sat on the coffee table, still steaming. I touched it warm, recently poured. The remote lay on the couch as if it had just been set down. I moved to the next apartment, Mr. Kapoor's place. Door locked, but I could hear his shower running. I pounded on the door. "Mr. Kapoor, are you okay?" Nothing. The water just kept running. I went through the entire floor, 8 apartments. All of them showed signs of recent occupation. TVs on, food cooking, showers running, doors left open but every single resident was gone. The stairwell echoed with my footsteps as I raced down to the lobby. The night security guard's desk was abandoned, his coffee still hot in the cup. The security monitors showed empty hallways, empty streets, empty lobbies of neighboring buildings. Every single screen showed the same thing: a city frozen mid-moment, evacuated in an instant. I burst through the lobby doors onto the street. The night air hit me and it was cold, unnaturally cold for August. My breath misted in front of me as I stood there, spinning in place, looking for any sign of life. A cell phone rang nearby. I followed the sound to an abandoned car, engine still running, driver's door open. The phone sat in the queue folder, lighting up with an incoming call from Mum. I watched it ring until it went to voicemail. Then it started ringing again, Mom calling, over and over. I checked more cars. They all told the same story. People had vanished mid-drive, keys in ignitions, turn signals still blinking. A delivery truck had rolled slowly forward until it bumped against a building and stopped. its driver gone between 1 second and the next. I pulled out my own phone and opened the camera app. I needed to document this. Nobody would believe me otherwise. Hell, I barely believed it myself, and I was standing in the middle of it. That's when I noticed something. My phone's clock read 3:47 a.m., but it was the only device that had continued working normally. Every other clock, I could see the bank's digital display, the time on car dashboards, the clock tower in the distance, all of them had stopped at exactly 3:33 a.m. I drove through the city for over an hour, and let me tell you, there's something fundamentally disturbing about driving through completely empty streets. Traffic lights still cycled through their patterns, turning red for nobody, green for an absent world. Store alarms blared into the void. An automated voice from a parking garage kept announcing, "Please take your ticket to no one." But the emptiness wasn't random. I started noticing a pattern. A car had crashed into a storefront. I looked inside, nobody. The driver had vanished, but the car had continued forward until impact. But here's what made my blood run cold. There were pedestrians on the sidewalk when it happened. I could see their dropped shopping bags, scattered items, a purse lying open on the ground. Everyone had disappeared at the exact same instant. I stopped at a 24-hour convenience store. The door stood open, electronic chimes still dinging every few seconds, as if people were constantly coming and going. Inside, the fluorescent lights hummed their normal tune. Fresh coffee sat in the pot behind the counter. The register drawer was open. Bills and coins scattered across the counter as if someone had been making change. And behind the counter, still running, was the security system. I went around and checked the monitor. The footage was still recording. I scrubbed backward through the timeline until I reached 3:33 a.m. What I saw on that screen will haunt me for the rest of my life, however long that is. At 3 hours, 32 minutes and 55 seconds a.m. The store was busy. Not packed, but normal for a late-night crowd. 5 customers browsing aisles. 1 at the register paying for cigarettes. The clerk scanning items and smiling. Normal, human, alive. At 3 hours, 33 minutes and 0 seconds a.m. They were gone. Not gradually, not walking out of frame. Just ... gone. One frame they existed, the next frame the store was empty. The cigarettes the customer had been holding clattered to the counter. The clerk's hand, reaching for change, suddenly grasped empty air. The other customers, their items, simply fell where they'd been standing. Bags of chips and energy drinks hitting the floor in complete silence. The time stamp was precise. Every single person disappeared between 3 hours, 32 minutes and 59 seconds and 3 hours, 33 minutes and 0 seconds. Not a second earlier, not a second later. Simultaneous, instant, absolute. I backed away from the monitor, my hands shaking. This wasn't a disaster. This wasn't an evacuation. This was something else entirely. Something impossible. That's when I heard it. A footstep. Behind me. I spun around, and for the first time in hours, I saw another human being. His name was Marcus, and he scared the hell out of me, which, looking back, is almost funny considering what we were about to discover. He was a security guard for a downtown office complex, late 40s, built like someone who took physical fitness seriously, and he was holding a pistol pointed directly at my chest. "Don't move," he said, his voice rough. "Who are you? What happened here?" I raised my hand slowly. "My name's Alex. I live about 15 minutes from here. I woke up and everyone was gone. I'm just trying to understand. You were asleep." His eyes narrowed. "What time did you wake up?" 3:34 a.m. "Why does that matter?" He lowered the gun slightly but kept it ready. "Because everyone who was asleep disappeared. Everyone who was awake and indoors disappeared. I was outside, doing my patrol rounds. That's the only reason I'm still here. What do you mean? How do you know I saw it happen? Marcus moved past me to the security monitor, his movements quick and controlled. I was outside the building I guard when the lights started flickering. Every building on the block, all at once. Then I heard this sound, this low-frequency hum that made my teeth ache. And then every single person I could see through the windows just stopped existing. He pulled out his own phone and showed me body cam footage. He'd been recording his patrol, and the video captured everything. At exactly 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 0 seconds a.m., the city's lights pulsed in unison once, twice, 3 times. The hum Marcus described was audible on the recording, a deep, thrumming sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. And in that moment, visible through office windows, people simply vanished mid-movement. But you were outside, I said slowly, understanding, and I was asleep, but I woke up just after. So there are exceptions to whatever this is. Maybe, or maybe we're just on borrowed time. Marcus finally holstered his weapon. Look, I've been driving around for hours, trying to find someone, anyone. You're the first person I've seen. That means something. We need to stick together and figure this out. We spent the next hour comparing notes. Marcus had checked multiple locations, shopping centers, residential areas, the hospital. Everywhere was the same, evidence of instant disappearance. But we noticed something else, something important. The birds were gone, not a single bird anywhere in the city. The stray cats that usually prowled the alleys had vanished. Even insects seemed to have fled. It wasn't just humans, it was anything with enough awareness to sense what was coming. They knew, Marcus said, quietly as we stood on an empty overpass, looking out over the silent city. The animals knew something was wrong and they got out. But we didn't listen. That's when the emergency broadcast system activated. Every car radio in the vicinity suddenly crackled to life. The screens in Times Square, our city's smaller version, lit up with the emergency alert pattern. My phone vibrated with an emergency notification. Marcus's body cam beeped with an incoming transmission. But it wasn't a government message. It wasn't a recorded warning. It was something far worse. The sound that came through was voices, hundreds of thousands of voices, all speaking in perfect unison. Men, women, children, speaking the same words at the same time. Do not sleep. Do not close your eyes. 3:33 a.m. will come again. We are not gone. We are home. We are where we belong. You can join us. You will join us. When the calling comes again, you will understand. Do not resist. It is beautiful here. It is right. 333. The pattern completes. The cycle continues. 333. The message repeated in different languages, Mandarin, Arabic, Hindi, always the same cadence, always the same unison, always ending with 333, spoken like a prayer. Then it cut to static, and in that static, if you listened carefully enough, you could hear something underneath, a rhythm, a pulse, like a heartbeat, but wrong. Too slow, too deliberate. Marcus grabbed my arm hard enough to hurt. Did you hear that? Did you hear what they said? The coordinates, I whispered. The message had included specific GPS coordinates, spoken in the middle of that synchronized chorus, and I recognized them immediately. They were my address, my apartment building. Marcus wanted to leave. He argued that we should get in a car, drive out of the city, find help somewhere else, but I couldn't. Sarah was gone. My neighbors were gone. 2.3 million people had disappeared in an instant, and somehow the coordinates led back to my home. I have to go back, I said. I need to understand. You're insane. Whatever this is, whatever took the mitt wants you to. Why would you walk right into? Because maybe there's a reason I'm still here. Maybe there's something I'm supposed to find. In the end, Marcus reluctantly agreed to come with me. We drove back to my apartment building in tense silence. The emergency broadcast still looping through every radio station, every emergency channel, that impossible chorus of unified voices. My apartment felt different when I returned. I'd only been gone a few hours, but something had changed. The air felt heavier, colder. Sarah's things were still scattered around her laptop on the couch, her coffee mug in the sink, her journal on the nightstand. I picked up the journal. I'd never read it before. She was private about her writing, and I'd always respected that. But she was gone now. And maybe, just maybe, there was something inside that could explain what happened. The last entry was dated 3 days before the disappearance. The humming is getting worse. Everyone at work feels it too, but nobody talks about it. It's like we all agreed to pretend it's not happening. I've been waking up at 3:33 a.m. every night for the past week. Always exactly 3:33. Alex sleeps right through it. But I lie there listening to that sound, and I know something is calling us. Something wants us to notice. The number is everywhere now. I see it on receipts, on license plates, on clocks. When I randomly check my phone, 333, 333. Why won't anyone talk about it? I flipped back further. The entries went back weeks. She'd been experiencing shared nightmares with her co-workers' dreams of walking through underground tunnels toward a light that hurt to look at. Dreams of standing in circles with strangers, all humming the same note. Dreams of numbers that burned themselves into her vision. Marcus was at my laptop, going through Sarah's browsing history. Alex, you need to see this. She'd been on forums, local community pages, and she wasn't alone. Hundreds of posts from different users, all describing the same phenomena. People waking at 3:33 a.m., seeing the number everywhere, hearing a low humming that no one else seemed to notice, experiencing lost time, missing hours, with no memory of where they'd been. One post, from a user named Truthseeker91, had a map attached. It showed locations all over the city, marked with red pins, dozens of them. The post was titled, "They're gathering us. These are the collection points. If you've been called, you know which one is yours." I zoomed in on the map. One of the pins was directly on my apartment building. This was organized, Marcus breathed. This wasn't random. They were conditioning people, preparing them, making them ready for whatever happened at 3:33 a.m. I opened my own journal, a habit I'd kept inconsistently over the years. Most of it was mundane, work complaints, movie reviews, grocery lists, but there were entries I didn't remember writing. August 20th, 2:47 a.m. The calling is getting stronger. We walked to the place again tonight. There were hundreds of us. We stood in the circle and hummed together, and it felt right. It felt like coming home. When I woke up in bed, I didn't remember walking there, but my shoes were dirty and my feet hurt. It's almost time. I can feel it. We can all feel it. August 23rd, 3:33 a.m. Everyone knows now. We don't talk about it during the day, but at night, we all know the great gathering is coming. We will shed our confused daylight selves and become what we're meant to be. Together, united, home. August 28th, 3:32 a.m. Tomorrow at 3:33 a.m. we all go home. I'm ready. I've been ready. Alex still doesn't know. He's different. He's not one of us. Maybe he'll understand eventually. Maybe he'll join the next wave. I'll wait for him there, in the beautiful place, in the home we never knew we had. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the journal. Marcus picked it up and read the entries, his face growing pale. You were one of them, he said quietly. You were going to those gatherings. You were being called. So why didn't you disappear? I looked at my phone's GPS history. Marcus was right. Multiple nights over the past few weeks, my phone had recorded me traveling to various locations around the city between midnight and 4 a.m. Locations I had no memory of visiting. Parking garages, abandoned warehouses, the basement of a church, underground maintenance tunnels. But the most frequent location was beneath the city hall. My phone showed me there 17 times in the past 3 weeks. Always between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Always staying for exactly 33 minutes. I opened my photo gallery, and that's when I saw them. Photos I didn't remember taking, hundreds of them. Pictures of crowds gathered in underground spaces, all standing in perfect circles. Pictures of geometric symbols carved into concrete walls. Pictures of that impossible light Sarah had described, a glow that seemed wrong. That hurt to look at even in a photograph. And pictures of me, selfies, taken at 3:32 a.m. on the morning of the disappearance. In them, I'm sitting calmly in my bed. Sarah is beside me, lying peacefully with her eyes closed, and I'm smiling at the camera. Not a normal smile, something serene, something other. The final photo was a video, 1 minute long. I pressed play. My own voice spoke from the speakers. If you're watching this, it means something went wrong. It means I didn't go with the others. I don't know why I'm different. I don't know why the calling didn't take me completely. But you need to know what's coming. You need to understand that this is just the beginning. Every city, eventually, the pattern is spreading. 333. When you start seeing it, when you start waking at 3:33, when you feel the pull in your dreams, you're being chosen, and you have to decide, will you resist, or will you understand? The video showed me checking my phone. 3 hours, 32 minutes and 47 seconds a.m. Sarah stirred beside me, then went still. The timestamp hit 3 hours, 33 minutes and 0 seconds. Sarah vanished from the bed, just gone, completely. The covers where she'd been lying flattened, as if no one had ever been there. But I remained. I sat there for 3 full seconds after 3:33. Still smiling that wrong smile, still staring at the camera. Then confusion crossed my face. I looked around the empty bed, panic rising. The video cut out at 3 hours, 33 minutes and 17 seconds. You saw it happen, Marcus said. You were awake. You saw your girlfriend disappear, but you don't remember any of it. I didn't. The last thing I remembered before waking at 3:34 was going to sleep normally at midnight. Everything between was just ... gone. That's when the lights started going out across the city. We watched from my apartment window as entire city blocks went dark in sequence, not randomly, not like a power failure, but systematically, like something was flipping switches in a specific pattern. The darkness spread from the edges of the city toward the center, swallowing neighborhoods one by one. Marcus checked his phone. It's 9:33 p.m., 18 hours since it happened. The numbers again, I said. 333. It's not just 3:33 a.m. It's every time the digits repeat, every 9 hours, as if in answer. The low-frequency hum started up again. This time, we both heard it clearly. It vibrated through the building's structure, made the windows rattle in their frames, set off car alarms on the street below. Morse code, Marcus whispered. That's SOS. But backwards. It's not a call for help, It's something acknowledging a call, like saying message received. My laptop suddenly came to life on its own. Sarah's web browser opened to a news aggregate site. Headlines populated the screen automatically. Mass disappearances reported in 47 cities worldwide. Millions missing. All incidents occurred at 3:33 a.m. local time. Government issues shelter-in-place orders as mystery deepens. Scientists report unusual seismic activity beneath major population centers. Religious leaders call for prayer as end times theories spread. Marcus leaned over my shoulder, reading. This happened everywhere. Same time. Local time zones. Jesus Christ, this is global. The articles described the same thing we'd witnessed. Instant disappearances. Entire populations of cities vanishing between 1 second and the next. But some cities had survivors, always people who'd been outside or somehow weren't fully asleep. Dozens of survivor testimonies described the same things. The hum, the pulsing lights, the synchronized vanishing. One article had video footage from a traffic camera in Tokyo. At exactly 3:33 a.m. local time, every car on a busy intersection suddenly became empty mid. The vehicles rolled forward, some crashing, some drifting to a stop, but every single driver and passenger had vanished. Another article showed security footage from a hospital in Berlin. Patients disappeared from their beds. Doctors vanished mid-surgery, leaving their instruments hanging in mid-air before clattering to the floor. Nurses, visitors, everyone gone in a frame. But here's what made me feel sick. The articles were being updated in real time, and the updates weren't coming from journalists or government officials. The words were being typed directly into the articles by unseen hands, adding new information that shouldn't be there. Update 9:45 p.m. The calling will come again. We are waiting. We are ready. 3:33 a.m. local time. Do not resist. Understanding awaits. The pattern must complete. 333. Marcus slammed the laptop shut. We need to leave right now. Get as far from the city as possible before the building's fire alarms started screaming. Not the normal whoop of a standard alarm, but something wrong. Something that matched the rhythm of that pulsing light pattern. 3 short bursts. 3 long, 3 short. I grabbed my phone and pulled up the city map, overlaying the marked locations from Sarah's forum post. Marcus, look at this. These gathering points, they're not random. They form a geometric pattern across the city. When I zoomed out, the pattern became clear. The red pins formed concentric circles around a single point in the exact center of the city. And that point was marked with a different symbol on the map. A downward pointing arrow with the text origin. What's at the city center? Marcus asked. I switched to satellite view. The center point was the old city maintenance complexer, sprawling network of tunnels and maintenance stations built in the 1950s, mostly abandoned now. Public records listed it as inactive infrastructure, but Sarah's GPS history showed her there the night before the disappearance. My own GPS showed me there too, and according to the metadata on my strange photos, dozens of them were taken in underground chambers beneath that complex. That's where we need to go, I said. Are you insane? That's exactly where we shouldn't. Marcus, in 6 hours, it's going to be 3:33 a.m. again, and based on everything we've seen, whatever happened then is going to happen again. If there's any way to understand this, to maybe stop it or prepare for it, the answers are down there. He stared at me for a long moment, then shook his head. You're one of them. You know that, right? You've been called. You're still being called. That's why you want to go down there. It's pulling you. Maybe, I admitted, but aren't you curious? Don't you want to know what this is about before you spend the rest of your life as the only person left alive? After a long silence, Marcus nodded grimly. Fine. But we're taking weapons, we're staying together. And at the first sign of anything supernatural or dangerous, we run. Agreed. We made it to the city maintenance complex at 11:07 p.m. 4 hours and 26 minutes until 3:33 a.m. The facility was surrounded by a chain-link fence topped with barbed wire, but the main gate hung open, swinging slowly in a wind I couldn't feel. The main building was dark, but the door was unlocked. Inside, industrial corridors stretched into darkness, lit only by emergency lighting that cast everything in a sickly red glow. Signs pointed toward various utility systems, water treatment, electrical substations, tunnel access. We followed the signs toward sublevel access. The stairwell descended 5 floors underground before opening into a massive tunnel system. These weren't modern maintenance tunnels, they were old, possibly dating back 100 years or more, hand-carved from bedrock and later reinforced with concrete. The walls were covered in symbols, not graffiti, something else. Geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly, mathematical formulas that seemed to shift and change when I tried to read them, and everywhere, carved deep into the concrete, 333. People have been coming here for a long time, Marcus said, his voice echoing weirdly in the tunnel. This isn't new. This has been here for years, maybe decades. We walked deeper, following a well-worn path through the tunnels. The hum was louder down here, a constant vibration that I could feel in my bones. The air was cold and tasted metallic. Every 33 steps, there was another carved symbol. Every intersection had an arrow pointing deeper. Then we found the chamber. It was massive, easily the size of a football field hidden deep beneath the city. The walls were lined with technology that didn't belong in an abandoned maintenance system. Screens, servers, equipment that hummed with power despite no visible power source. Everything was arranged in concentric circles leading to the center of the chamber, and in the center was a void. I don't know how else to describe it. Not a hole, exactly. More like a space where reality had been carefully peeled back. It was roughly circular, maybe 20 feet across, and looking at it made my eyes water and my head ache. The void seemed to pull at everything, light, sound, perception itself, around its edge. Hundreds of personal items lay arranged in precise, geometric patterns. Phones, wallets, jewelry, keys, wedding rings, children's toys, all left behind, organized with mathematical precision. What the hell is that? Marcus breathed. I moved closer, almost hypnotized. The void wasn't empty, there was something moving inside it. Shapes that didn't have consistent forms, colors that weren't part of the normal spectrum. And when I looked directly at it, I could hear voices, millions of voices, all speaking in that same synchronized chorus. My phone vibrated in my pocket, a text from an unknown number. Come closer. Remember, you've been here before. You know what this is. You know what we are. Join us. Complete the pattern. I pulled out my phone to show Marcus, but more texts were coming through. Alex, we're waiting. Sarah is here. Everyone you love is here. You belong here too. Why resist? Why suffer alone when you can be complete? The pattern has been calling for millennia. Every civilization that achieves awareness eventually hears the call. This is evolution. This is ascension. This is home. You were chosen to witness both sides, to understand and choose freely. At 3:33 a.m., the doorway opens again. Will you step through, or will you remain alone in a world that no longer needs you. Marcus grabbed my arm and pulled me back. We need to leave. Now. This is wrong. All of this is deeply, fundamentally wrong. But I couldn't stop staring at the void, because I did remember, in fragments, in flashes, standing in this chamber with hundreds of others, all of us humming together, watching as, one by one, people stepped forward and simply continued on, through the void, into whatever waited on the other side, their faces peaceful, serene, happy. And I remembered Sarah's hand in mine, her smile as she stepped forward, her last words, "I'll wait for you there, join me soon." I remembered watching her walk into the void and disappear, not with fear or sadness, but with joy, pure, absolute joy. And I remembered something stopping me from following, some small part of my mind that resisted, that pulled me back, that made me stumble away while my body tried to move forward, the sensation of being torn between two realities, the one that wanted me to follow and the one that wanted me to witness. I was supposed to go with them, I said quietly, but something in me resisted, something kept me here. Then we need to keep it that way, Marcus said urgently. Whatever this is, cult, alien invasion, mass delusion, it's not good, it's not right, we can't let it. The lights pulsed, the hum increased in volume. Every screen in the chamber suddenly displayed the same thing. A countdown, 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 0 seconds. AM -4 hours, 14 minutes, and 22 seconds. 4 hours, 14 minutes, 22 seconds until the next calling. The screens changed again, showing live feeds from other cities around the world. Tokyo, Berlin, New York, London, Mumbai, every single one showed survivors gathered around similar voids, similar chambers, similar impossible spaces carved into reality. And in every feed, people were making the same choice. Some were running, fleeing the chambers, the cities, trying to escape what was coming, but others, most others, were simply waiting, sitting in circles around the voids, peaceful, patient, ready. A new message appeared on the screens. The pattern is complete in 329 cities. The calling will expand. 3:33 a.m. local time. All who hear will have the choice. Resist and remain. Accept and ascend. The cycle continues. The evolution proceeds. Humanity has been invited. Who will accept? Marcus was backing toward the tunnel exit. I'm leaving. I'm getting in a car and driving as far from any city as possible. You should come with me. But I was still staring at the void, at the shapes moving within it, at the impossible beauty of something I couldn't fully comprehend. They're not dead, I whispered. They're somewhere else, somewhere we can't see or understand from this side. And Sarah said, it's beautiful there. You don't know that. This could be a trap. This could be death, dressed up as transcendence. Come on, Alex. We leave now. We drive through the night. We get somewhere safe. There is no somewhere safe, I interrupted. It's happening everywhere, and it's going to keep happening. This isn't an invasion or an attack. It's an invitation, and maybe we're the ones being left behind. We argued for another hour. Marcus tried to convince me to leave. I tried to explain what I remembered, what I felt, what the pieces of my missing memory were telling me. But ultimately, we both knew we'd each made our choice already. At 2:30 a.m., Marcus left. He gave me his phone number and made me promise to call if anything changed. But we both knew I wouldn't. We both knew what I was going to do. I spent the next hour alone in that chamber, sitting beside the void, watching the countdown tick down. I thought about Sarah, about my neighbors, about 2.3 million people who'd made their choice and moved on to whatever waited on the other side. At 3 a.m., I started recording this. Everything I've told you, it's all real. It all happened, and in 33 minutes, I'm going to find out what comes next. The void is pulsing now, glowing with that light that hurts to see. The hum has become almost musical, thousands of voices harmonizing, calling, welcoming, and I can feel the pull, that same pull Sarah described. That same pull that took everyone at 3:33 a.m. 4 days ago. I'm not afraid. That's the strangest part. I should be terrified, but instead, I feel ... peace. Like I'm finally understanding something I've been trying to grasp my whole life. At 3:15 a.m., the void opens wider. I can see through it now, not clearly, but enough. There's something on the other side, a place, a reality, something vast and interconnected and impossible and absolutely real. And Sarah is there. I can see her. She's smiling. At 3:30 a.m., I stand up. The countdown shows 3 minutes. Other survivors from around the world are streaming into their own chambers, making their choices. Some are running, but more so, many more are walking forward, ready. At 3:32 a.m., I take a step toward the void, then another. It's close now. I can feel it pulling at me, not violently, but gently, like gravity, like inevitability. At 3:33 a.m., the recording cuts, then resumes at 3:47 a.m. My voice sounds different now, calmer, distant. I'm still here, still on this side. The void closed at 3 hours 33 minutes and 1 second, and I was one step away, one single step, and I stopped. I don't know why. Maybe the same instinct that kept me behind the first time. Maybe some small part of me that isn't ready to let go of this reality yet. But I saw, in that moment when the void was fully open, I saw everything. I understand now what they are, what we're invited to become, and it is beautiful, it is transcendent, it is everything they promised and more. But it's also not coming back. Not ever. That invitation was for everyone who heard the calling, who experienced the preparation, who stood ready at 3:33 a.m. Those who went are gone from here permanently, and those of us who remained, we're the last of our species on this world. I don't know how many of us are left globally. Thousands maybe, tens of thousands, out of billions. We're scattered, isolated, the remnants of a humanity that chose to stay when the rest chose to ascend. If you're watching this, you need to know, the pattern is still spreading. More cities will hear the calling. More people will experience the 3:33 a.m. awakening. More voids will open. The numbers will appear on clocks, in dreams, in the fabric of your daily life. 333, when you see it, when you wake at 3:33 a.m., when you feel the pull in your sleep, you're being chosen, and you'll have to decide, resist and remain alone in a world that's becoming emptier, or answer the call and discover what waited on the other side. I made my choice. Maybe I'll regret it. Maybe I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what I missed. Or maybe I'll be here when the next wave comes. Maybe I'll be ready then. Check your clocks tonight. If you wake at 3:33 a.m., comment below. Tell me what you hear. Tell me what you see. Because I think the calling is choosing its next wave, and you might be on the list. To those of you who've seen the symbols, who've felt the pull, who've found the gathering places in your cities, you're not alone. There are more of us than you think. We're watching, waiting, trying to understand. And to Sarah, wherever you are, whatever you've become, I hope it's everything you dreamed. I hope you're happy there. I hope you know I almost followed. I'll see you at 3:33. The recording ends.